Christmas dinner was glowing with warm lights and fake smiles. Everyone was trying to pretend we were one big loving family, but the tension in the room felt thick enough to slice through. I had barely been there 10 minutes when I sensed the shift. My mom's eyes kept flicking toward me, cold and impatient. Grace, my sister, wouldn't stop smirking at her plate. My stepdad kept sipping wine like he wanted to disappear. I tried staying calm, tried eating, tried pretending nothing was wrong. But then, my mom slammed her fork down so hard it echoed through the dining room. She looked straight at me and said, "You need to move out." No warning, no conversation, just a public execution in the middle of Christmas dinner. The table froze. Everyone stared at me like I was some sort of burden that had overstayed its welcome. I blinked slowly. My hands were trembling, but I forced myself to breathe. What? I whispered. Mom didn't hesitate. "I'm done supporting you. You're old enough to be on your own. Starting next week, you're out." Her voice was sharp, rehearsed. This wasn't emotional. This was planned. And the more I looked around the table, the clearer it became. Grace knew. My stepdad knew. Everyone knew. Everyone except me. But what they didn't know was that I'd been keeping a secret, one that would turn this entire dinner upside down. And I was done protecting people who never protected me. My mom leaned back in her chair, satisfied, like she had finally put me in my place. Grace let out a tiny laugh under her breath, not even trying to hide how much she enjoyed this. I looked at her for a long moment. My sister, the golden child, the one who never got blamed, never got punished, never had to work for anything. She was the reason this was happening, because 3 weeks earlier, I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Something involving Grace, something involving my mom, and something involving my dad's savings. The same savings they told the entire family had disappeared. I cleared my throat and spoke carefully. "Before you kick me out, maybe you should tell everyone the real reason you want me gone." My mom's face went pale instantly. Grace stopped smiling. Mom snapped, "Don't start." But it was too late. I looked around at everyone, my aunts, uncles, cousins, all staring, confused and curious. So I said it. I said the one sentence my mom hoped would never reach anyone's ears. "I know what happened to Dad's missing money." The entire room went dead silent. Grace's wine glass slipped from her hand and cracked on the floor. My mom whispered, "Stop," but her voice shook. Everyone leaned forward, waiting, their Christmas dinner forgotten. I continued. "I saw the bank statements. I know whose account Dad's savings were transferred into, and I know who signed the withdrawal forms." My mom's hands began shaking. Grace looked like she couldn't breathe. My stepdad wouldn't even look at them. I wasn't done. "Mom, if you kick me out, I go straight to Dad. And when he finds out the truth about what you two did, trust me, you won't be worried about Christmas dinner. You'll be worried about lawyers." Gasps filled the room. For the first time in my life, I watched my mom break. Grace jumped up from her chair, trying to regain control. "That's not true," she shouted, but her voice cracked, giving her away instantly. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. The family was already staring at her like she had grown horns. One of my uncles asked, "Grace, what is he talking about?" She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Nothing, because she knew exactly what she did. And so did I. 2 years ago, after Dad got sick, he trusted Mom to manage his savings temporarily. He trusted her blindly, the woman he built a life with. But instead of keeping that money safe, she transferred it. Not to pay for medical needs, not for the house, but to help Grace get a luxury apartment. The same apartment she bragged about on Instagram. The same one she claimed she paid for herself. Every picture now felt like a slap. The business class flights, the shopping days, the girl boss life, all paid with Dad's life savings. But that wasn't even the worst part. Grace had the actual nerve, to charge me. $3,200 a month to rent her extra room. Her room, built with Dad's stolen money. Money she had no right touching. When I found out, I didn't confront them immediately. I waited. I watched. I gathered every piece of proof. And now? Now they were exposed. My mom finally spoke, her voice small, cracked. "Please, don't tell your father." But the damage was already done. The family saw everything written across their faces. Guilt, fear and desperation. For the first time in years, the power was finally in my hands. The room was silent, except for the soft hum of the Christmas lights. Mom looked broken. Grace looked furious. My stepdad looked like he wished he was anywhere else. I slowly stood up from my chair, letting every pair of eyes lock onto me. "You want me gone?" I said softly. "Fine, I'll leave. But not the way you planned." Grace whispered, "What are you doing?" I looked at my mom. "You tried to kick me out to hide what you both did. But I'm done covering for this family." Mom's lip trembled. She said nothing. I continued. "Tomorrow morning I'm meeting Dad. I'll show him everything. The transfers, the signatures, the bank statements, the rent you forced me to pay in an apartment built with his money. Grace grabbed my arm desperately. Stop, please! You're going to ruin everything! I pulled my arm away. You already ruined everything. My aunt stood up, shaking her head at my mom. My uncle looked at Grace like he'd never met her before. The entire room was turning against them. Mom whispered, please, we'll fix it. Just don't tell him. I stared at her, the woman who raised me, and the woman who betrayed our father in the worst way. No, I said. You don't get to ask for my silence anymore. Grace began crying. Mom began shaking. I picked up my coat, walked to the door, and before leaving, I said, Merry Christmas. And then I walked out. That night, for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the broken one in the family. I felt free. And my mom and Grace, they finally faced the consequences they had been running from. The truth always catches up, even on Christmas. If this story stayed with you, make sure to stay with us too. More real stories, more truth, more strength, coming soon.